Hello, I'm Michael Grassia, art director of Pronto Comics. I'm here with.
Logan Sekulow. I am currently the creator of Laughagram, a new project we're working on that is on Kickstarter right now. It's a weekly released newspaper that has no news and only comics, comic strips and comic panels. And it's something we're trying to build is kind of to launch the next generation to make sure that they get the same experience as people our age, younger, and older even, excuse me, not older, have had their whole lives, which was to grow up on the funny pages. And to as our demographic doesn't necessarily subscribe to the newspaper, we felt that was kind of going away, and we decided to launch Laughagram as sort of an ancillary product. Is you don't necessarily need to get your news from there, but we think there's something special about getting the comics in a physical form for a kid, from whether it's a learning abilities, learning how to read, or learning comedy, or really just having something of their own, something that's physical, and it spawned out of a lot of stuff, but it was exciting for us to launch it. We just launched, and I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. I mean, when I discovered your project, I was just in awe of it because I love comics. I love comic strips. Um, Now, before we actually get into talking specifically about that, what is your background in comics? Have you ever written, drawn?
Yeah, my background in comics is really pretty much from a fan point of view. I've been a hardcore. I was definitely a hardcore fan as a kid, and I got back into comic books kind of when the New 52 came out. I started kind of getting back into it.
Mhm.
But I grew up in a comic book store pretty much. I feel like I lived there as a kid. It was something that was just a huge part of my life. And some of those guys who I kind of grew up with, some of those comic book store owners are actually kind of coming on board, some with Laughagram and helping out. So it was always just a big part of my life. Was definitely a community that I was embraced in as sort of a geeky kid, like a lot of us. So it was
Yeah.
always something that was really a big part of my life. I went to film school. I've directed a movie. I've worked on a bunch of documentaries, and that was sort of my passion for the last 15 years or so since college. And then what happened was, like I said, I drew comic strips as a little kid, like in elementary school, and one of them is based on one of the current comics we're working on right now. So that's kind of fun. My third grade teacher's pretty excited, but I never really, I'm not a really great artist. I think I'm a pretty good writer, but I'm not a good artist. My wife is an artist and an illustrator, and she does children's books and has worked on a lot of different projects. And so I've been pretty much watching her write a children's or illustrate children's books the last few months, and it's just been exciting to see the process and kind of be involved in that a little bit again.
Hmm.
And what happened was, to be honest, we're huge Disney fans over here at the house. I'm sure you see weird Disney toys, Star Wars stuff
If you
up
saw
there.
my place, it's all Disney. So
Yeah, it's all Disney. I mean, I'm a Disney. I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm hardcore pretty much anything. There's masks of all Marvel characters. I'm a DC guy too.
yeah.
But I love everything, and I love all that kind of stuff. And what happened was I took my son to see. I think it was Big Hero 6, or maybe something more recently, maybe Paddington Bear, and they showed the trailer for the Peanuts movie that's coming out, the Charlie Brown movie that's going to be coming out in Christmas. And it kind of clicked with me that was sort of something odd, which was obviously a lot of kids are introduced to the Peanuts, so that's one they're introduced to because they see the TV specials, but definitely not as frequently as they used to be. And it was weird to me, like, this would probably be his first. He's only 2, he'll be 3 then, but he loves movies just like his dad and loves stuff like that. But that would be his first. For a lot of these kids, their first understanding of who these characters were. Like, I'm really excited to see the movie because I grew up with those characters, and I grew up with the Peanuts and Charlie Brown and Linus and Snoopy, and all these things are just part of our lives. But it was weird. It kind of clicked with me that, like, that's not something that would be part of his and part of his childhood the same way I received it.
Yeah.
Through connections we had, I worked in a lot of kids' entertainment before I came here and started Laughagram. Like I said, we did a movie that was a family movie. It was about Walt Disney, and we actually did a movie about. And I'd worked at Nickelodeon when I first got out of film school, so I did a lot of connections in family entertainment. It's always been something that I've been passionate about, and it just sort of lined up. There's so many of my friends that seem to be doing comics, and they're really love comic strips, and I kind of fell in love with it, with the idea just that I'd be able to share this experience with my son in a different way that I was expecting. So instead of me trying to go find the comic strips, the local funnies that are in the funny pages here, which are pretty minimal, we create something that was mostly for families because really I'm in Nashville, in Tennessee. Our newspaper in Tennessee, it has a decent funny pages section on Sundays, but it's all largely for adults, and to the point of like I would not feel comfortable handing it over to my son. Like there's whether it's Doonesbury or something like that, which I think are really funny and really classic. They've skewed so adult because that's the audience reading the paper that it just didn't feel right. So with that, we kind of reached out to the two major syndicators, got them involved, and started working on original content. Yada yada yada. We're here and we've launched on Kickstarter. But I know that's a long answer to what you asked. I do love comics. I've never been into comics as a publisher, but I'm a big Nightwing fan. I was sad to see that. That's my favorite. But yeah, I'll answer that question in for you. I'm done. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I enjoyed the answer. So okay, you kind of explained what Laugh-O-Gram, or the reason for Laugh-O-Gram is. Would you like to talk about who are some of the artists that you're bringing in?
Absolutely. When it comes to artists and the content we're bringing in, obviously you're going to have your classics, your Peanuts, and like I said, Garfield, and pretty much everything you want from a kid's comic, except Calvin and Hobbes. Sadly, they just don't let us republish it, and it's something that's we're going to try to offer something for the fans. Because people have asked that, why no Calvin and Hobbes? Trust me, I would love to have it and put it in the strip or in the paper in a heartbeat, but it's just not something available right now. Yeah. But all the other classics you know of, and some of the stuff you've probably forgotten is going to be in there. But new stuff, we really wanted to develop new material that you couldn't get anywhere else, or material that was only available on the web. So we've reached out to a few of our friends, guy Tom Bancroft, who, if you watch our Kickstarter video, you'll see him featured heavily. We became friends last year, and he lives around the corner from me. Okay. He was a former Disney animator, the 2D animator in the 90s. Did pretty much everything from Beauty and the Beast forward, and was the character director for Mushu Mulan, who he animated Pocahontas, he animated Jafar and Iago and Aladdin, and he created young Simba and the Lion King. I mean, so many classics. And he is a huge comic strip fan because, much like a lot of us, that was sort of his first introduction to these characters and to the world of cartoons. And he'd been doing a weekly strip already. He's kind of come in as not only a guy providing content, but he's really kind of advised us and helped us a lot. He even was one of the guys who helped to draw our little logo, our little character. He did that for us, along with one of our artists. They kind of collaborated and did it together. And then beyond that, we're talking to artists. A lot of people have been messaging me, and it's probably been my most common thing has been, are you guys still taking submissions to be in the paper? We totally are. And we have other artists that have come on board. Some I can't talk about just yet, but a lot of people that have reached out since we launched the Kickstarter campaign that really want to be involved. And what I've kind of told them all, which is absolutely the truth, is without us getting our funding successful, I can't. At this point, it's not even worth the conversation. I would love to be able to publish this thing right now at 6 pages. We'd love to move to 8, 12. Who knows where it could go. But right now, our mission is to get it funded, to get the funny pages back into the hands of kids nationwide. And other artists have come on board just in support. You have Guy Gilchrist, who's doing Nancy. He came on, and he's been a big supporter of our paper. He does, which is cool because he's actually a guy who's doing it currently, a daily strip that's syndicated worldwide. To have him come on and really embrace the idea, the new idea of the old, to repackage everything. And then we're hearing from some crazy people that I'm really excited to share when we can. Like the guy who's drawing Dennis the Menace, and a few other people have reached out just because of the Kickstarter campaign. Yeah. But we're going to be developing our original content now. I really do care about that, and I think that's something that is not necessarily going to be the hook for a lot of people to subscribe, but hopefully it'll be something that will bring them in and keep them here for the future, and that we can actually develop off of that.
Okay. That's interesting. So let me ask you, you said something I just got a little confused for a second.
Yeah.
You're going to be having the older strips in there. Do you mean you're reprinting old strips that's the syndicates, or are they going to be the current newspaper strips that...
Yeah, it actually depends. So, this is something we can talk about. There's no problem with it. It depends. Certain strips are reprinted. So, like Peanuts is not new. They're selective. Now, what's interesting is there's two major syndicators that do it. There's King and there's UClick Universal. Yeah. With UClick, we will be on a rotation where we essentially get to curate what we want to put in our paper because they're kind of treating us like a magazine and less like a newspaper. So we were able to pick, as long as it's think ours will at least be a month old, but in that we're actually able to go into the entire archives of these strips. So we can even go to Garfield #1 if we wanted to, pick out some of our favorites. And we're going to have some guys who are going to come in, like Tom, who are going to kind of curate for us and help us pick the best. I like that, and then with, on the other side of the world, in King Features, we'll be running probably what's in the paper that week or what's in the paper within that week. Now, what we will be a little different is that we wanted to put some serials in the paper. So we've picked up The Amazing Spider-Man, which is awesome, Stan Lee Amazing Spider-Man, and The Phantom. And what we've done with that is that, we both, we first decided what we wanted. We all wanted those. We wanted those too. It was weird. It was like, we're a weekly paper, and those are very much daily strips. You have to follow along daily. So they're actually letting us print an entire week's worth in one issue. So there'll be sort of a serial section that will have a block of The Amazing Spider-Man for essentially 7 days worth, and then 7 days worth of The Phantom. And that's exciting for us. And then, strips I'm sure are going to come and go as time goes on. We'll see what people like and what they don't like. But, we're kind of launching with a really good set of strips that I'm excited about. We've got sort of all the standards we felt were necessary, and the ones that we actually personally wanted, like the Phantom. I personally picked the Phantom. I was like, I want the Phantom in this. I love the Phantom. And I even told the guys, like, it's not making any money. I'll put in my own money just to have the Phantom in the paper. And it's fun. But yeah, so it will just depend totally on the strip. If you know your comics, if you know things that are on King, things that are on UClick, you can probably look and see what's going to be weekly and what's not. But we're excited about the fact that we can actually kind of curate some of these old ones and go through the archives and pick some of our favorites, because there's thousands of them. And that's sort of fun for us. And what we also like that we can kind of theme it out too. So what's cool with the system, this is just to geek out with you for a minute, is that the keyword everything. So like, it's all digital. So if I want to, like, let's say when The Force Awakens comes out in December, like, we plan on, well, let's do a Star Wars issue as much as we can. And you can type into their search, Star Wars, and there's every strip that King Features has, or I think that was through UClick. The UClick has done that, features Star Wars characters or Star Wars jokes or something like that in them, and that's pretty neat. So we're gonna hope to theme out some stuff like that and have some fun with it, beyond just being like, we're not just gonna take it and throw it in the paper, just throw it out there, just be like, we'll reprint this. It's gonna be very, as much as we can select it, it's gonna be kind of hand selected.
Okay, that's actually really cool. I'd love something like that. With the Kickstarter account, you launched that how many days ago?
Launched on Tuesday, so I guess 4 days ago.
4 days ago, and you want to give the Kickstarter site for people?
Sure, yeah. If you go to Kickstarter, it's at search Laugh-O-Gram, which is laugh-o-gram. And the easiest way to do it is to go just to laughogram.co. So we've redirected what will be our domain name just straight to the Kickstarter campaign.
Okay.
So you go to Laugh-O-Gram, no dashes, nothing, just LAH, or LA, no, not LAH, LAU, it's like LAUGHOGRAM.co. I'll take you directly to our Kickstarter account, and you can hopefully pledge there if you feel so inclined. And the price points are pretty good. They're discounted right now, so you'll be getting it weekly. I think the cheapest option right now is $25. You get it for 3 months, and then it kind of goes on $50 for 6 months. And then right now, depending on if they're still available, we have an early bird special that's $100 for a year of content. I mean, that's a lot of issues that will be coming to your door or into your mailbox throughout the next year. And we hopefully will launch, pending a successful campaign, which we believe we're going to have 6 to 8 weeks after launch.
Okay, so the Kickstarter ends usually about a month. They give you about a month to do.
Yeah, we have April. I believe April 24th is our final day. I'm actually going to check on that real quick for you.
Okay.
This is a Friday. It's at 11 o'clock, or it's at midnight Eastern time for you guys. And yeah, it will end on April 24th, I believe is what it is, at midnight your time. And we're going to hopefully be, have an exciting few days here. There's some big announcements coming when it comes to people, like I said, that have just reached out. Yeah. So we're saving some stuff to hopefully get some as time goes on, and hopefully bring more people into the fold. But yeah.
That's great. That's great stuff. I love this this whole concept. Like I
Thank
said,
you so much.
Which is why I wanted to interview. Why I'll be posting these on YouTube by tomorrow at some point at the latest. So this will be up, and I'll definitely send you a link that you could.
Please do. I will do what I can to feature it wherever we can.
Now, just one last question.
Sure.
To go back to something you said. because a lot of the people who this is targeted to, these videos right now, are
Yeah,
specifically targeted to um, the people who work with Pronto Comics, who are aspiring writers and
sure.
artists, and our job is to help them publish. Now, you said right now, until you launch the Kickstarter, you're not taking submissions technically.
Well, here's what I'd say is that I'm telling everyone to email me or to send me a message through Kickstarter or Facebook or whatever it is. I am interested in hearing from you, and I've taken a look at a bunch of them already.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm not doing until we're funded is probably making the call on which ones we're going to be picking up,
Okay.
because a lot of that's going to depend on how many subscribers come in and what our budget kind of lets us. Now, if someone's like, I'll give it to you, you guys can publish it. If it's kid friendly, I definitely would take a look, but. We know that's not the case. We know that a lot of these guys, like you said, should be getting paid for their work and all that.
Yeah.
And until we know what our goal, our goal right now covers about 3 months of service, and we hope that then kind of regenerates. So that's sort of the plan. Now, everyone who pays for their year will get their year. We've got that worked out. But when it comes to what it costs about that $15,000 we're trying to raise, and we're doing this interview, we're close to $4,000. Covers about 3 months of costs and the startup fees.
Okay.
So with that. If we're right at 15,000, it'll be hard for us to pull out and be like, hey, we have a ton more money to give to independent comic developers. Because sadly, as much as I want that to be the hook, for a lot of people, it's not. A lot of people, Charlie Brown is the hook, or Garfield.
Yeah, no, and I get that.
Popeye. But we really want to really drive home original material. We want to get great stuff. So if you're willing to work with us and take a risk with us, definitely get in touch with us. And I will totally take a look, and I'll send it to some of our managing editors and possibly an editor-in-chief that's going to come on to take a look as well. And, I didn't just launch this thing to just reprint old comics and reprint current comics. I did it because I really do believe in comics as an art form and as a media, entertainment media. I love comics. I grew up with comic books and comic strips my entire life, and I'm very encouraged to see that there's so many people working on creating new material, and we want to showcase that as much as possible over the next, as long as we can run this paper,
Yeah. That sounds great. Well, you know what? I want to thank you. We're kind of out of time because I do have to get to another interview.
No problem, sir. I appreciate it, and I wish I was there with you and with all the people there, because your background is way better than mine. I have 4 boys and a Hoth poster. You've got this awesomeness going on.
Well, this isn't my store, by the way, but I wish it was.
Yeah, exactly. You're best to all the guys and girls that are working on the book tonight, and I'm excited to see it myself. Please send me some info when you have it done. I want to see what y'all come up with tonight. I know creating comics is not something that's easy. Just creating a weekly strip is very difficult, but
I know.
creating a book is something that I know my friends have taken months on. If you guys have been doing it pretty much overnight, it's pretty rad, and I look forward to seeing it. But again, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for
if
being
you guys
on.
like this, feel free to check out our Kickstarter campaign.
And we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.